What's going on, everybody? I'm Brian and welcome to the WBRG BTV, Brian's Technical Videos, where we work on customer bikes, show you step by step what needs to be done. If you're wanting to get your bike worked on here at BTV, top link below, let's get to work. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of WBRG's BTV. Today we're going to be doing an oil change on a 2006 Honda VTX. Let's get it started. So basic oil change on our VTX here. We have our drain pan set up. We have our factory oil filter. We have two crush washers for this machine because there are two drain plugs. Our Honda oil filter wrench, 4 quarts of full synthetic oil. There is full synthetic in this machine already. So we're gonna go ahead and put full synthetic back in it. A little bit of brake and contact cleaner to clean off any hardware before reinstalling. And so we'll just go ahead and drain the oil, take the front drain plug out first because that typically makes a huge mess. Move on to the middle drain plug and the oil filter after that, and hopefully not spill oil everywhere. Our tools necessary for this job: 17mm socket and ratchet, wrench if you need it to get to the tool on the back of the oil filter here. That makes it a little bit easier. A pair of pliers to take the crush washer off of the drain plugs if they don't fall off afterwards. And just a simple magnet to check the oil that comes out of the engine and make sure there's no chunks of anything not happy. Front drain plug first. Don't think I'm actually going to be able to get to show it to you guys. It is buried in here a bit. My drain pan's totally in the way. I can't even see it. There we go. All right, so this front drain plug faces forward. So you want to make sure that your oil pan's got some room out in front of it, so when the oil is warm like it is right now and it starts coming out, it's going to have a little bit of a spray to it. Ooh, okay. First drain plug down. I'm grabbing some rags over here. Okay, second drain plug. Nice flow of the oil. Let's take a look to see how dark it is. Actually looks pretty good. Okay, it's pretty much dripped out. We're going to move on to the oil filter. Not sure if I'm going to be able to show it to you from my head cam here. There's not a whole lot of room in between the oil filter and the coolant reservoir to get your tool in here. I'm actually going to go ahead and use the wrench. Should make it a little bit easier to get to. One click at a time on the ratchet is all the space I have. Okay, I got it loose enough that I can get it off by hand. This cup is stuck on here a little bit. A little tap on the side of the cup will release it from the filter, and then you can just turn it off by hand. Okay, here's our Honda oil filter. Take a look and see what comes out of it. I already got most of the oil out. Oil looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and we'll let the oil drip out of this thing while the oil is dripping out. I'm just going to real quick give the bike a once over, check tire pressures, check cable adjustment, little stuff like that. Check to see if there's any leaks anywhere, but we'll go ahead and start here. So we're looking for the gap right here in the clutch lever. It seems to be just a little snug. Give that just a little bit more slack. Okay, that looks good there. Okay, tire pressures are set. Clutch cable is adjusted. We'll do the throttle cable when it comes down to this side. From here, we'll go ahead and reinstall our oil filter and drain plugs. A little dab of oil on the O-ring to keep it moist, help it seal. I don't like to install filters with a tool if I can help it, because that makes them really, really hard to come off after they've been heat cycled a bunch of times. So we're just going to go ahead and tighten it as much as we can by hand. Okay, and get our drain plugs back in. Okay, first plug in. Okay, got it started. All right, drain plugs are finger tight. Oil filter is hand tight. We're going to torque these drain plugs back in. One right here. Okay, now the other one's in front. Front one we're just going to have to do by feel. All right, that's pretty tight. We got our drain plugs back in, torqued down the spec. We got our oil filter back on. Now it's time to refill the engine cases. So we have our dipstick, nice clean funnel, and our 4 quarts of full synthetic engine oil. Okay, so these engine cases, I do not believe are going to hold all 4 quarts of oil. So after we put the third one in, we're going to go ahead and put the dipstick back in, or the fill hole plug back in, and then we're going to fire this thing up, get all the oil into all the galleys, fill the filter, work most of the air out of the system, let it resettle, and then we'll be able to set our oil level with our last quart of oil. It's 3 quarts in. We're going to go ahead, put the fill plug back in, and crank this thing up for a moment. In your typical Honda engine, when checking your engine oil, you don't want to screw the dipstick in all the way. You just want to set it down onto the threads, kind of like that right there. I'm going to run over here and grab some big long pliers and play operation and remove this rock off the top of your engine case that's just happily sitting there. So this thing is sat long enough, we can go ahead and stick the oil level and see where we're at. There may not be anything on the dipstick yet. Okay. Being that there was nothing on the stick, I'm only going to use about half of this quart first. And then I'll go ahead and recheck again. Now you also want to make sure when you're checking the oil level on your bike like this that it is held in an upright position. This one is on the lift, in the wheel chock, and level. So sticking our oil is very simple, but if you're doing this on the floor in your garage, when you're sticking this dipstick in here, you need to make sure that the bike is level before you put the dipstick in, and it needs to stay level until you get the dipstick back out to get a proper reading on the dipstick. Okay, so we're just showing oil on the dipstick. I might actually take this whole quart. I'm just going to do about half of what's left in here. Okay, we are just shy of the high line. I'm going to give it one splash and call it good. That's it right there. That should top us right up to the line. Okay, put our dipstick back in. Make sure it's nice and tight. Then we clean our oily fingerprints off. We're going to go ahead and bring this bike down so I can take a look at the throttle cable. It looks like everything else in here is just about set to go. Tire pressures are set. Clutch cable is set. We're going to do the throttle cables. We'll get this thing off the lift and get this bike rolling down the road again. So ready for some noise. Noise!
Noise!
So we got a little excess play here. We're just going to go ahead and use these micro adjusters right here at the cables to take care of that. Okay, so break free our lock nut and then turn the barrel adjuster out. Okay, what we're looking for here, he's got this nice little anti-cramp palm rest we could use almost as a straight line. We're looking for about 1/4 of an inch of play back and forth. We've got far more than that currently, so. Okay, that looks much better. Go ahead and just snug down this lock nut. Okay, I think we're pretty much set with our Honda VTX 1300 oil change. I'm Brian. This is BTV. See you on the next one.